practice this week. Exactly what I want to see. Looking for big things next year. This wrestler is always working hard, and I know he's going to do the work in the off season. I know he wants to win as bad as anybody. Worked hard all year, done it for a couple of years now, and that's Andreas. All right, this next wrestler, I enjoy watching him wrestle. He just does crazy stuff, stuff that never ever gets shown in the room. He just always happens to do it. It's like he goes. If he was a baseball player, he tried to hit a home run every single time. And you guys know what I'm talking about. You don't go to his back to try to put the other guy on his back. Just, gives you a heart attack every time he wrestles. And that's Ethan. All right, this next wrestler, one of our seniors. It'll be sad to see him go. He worked so hard. He was a monster on top. It would be nothing more. Make me smile. I know it make him smile during matches when the referee would flip the coin and the other wrestler get the choice and he would choose bottom. I'd shake my head like, oh, that was a mistake right there. They think about common sense. Choose bottom, give you 1 point. So many times it never worked. And we think that these other kids would know this individual and wouldn't pick bottom, but they still did it every single match. And he made it pay for it. That was Nico Guerrero. Okay, this next wrestler. He just got really unlucky with the weight certification this year. Missing by 1 pound, hasn't wrestled up the entire year. And he did great for last year. This year, just, made a huge improvement. And expecting even more. This coming up season, hopefully we'll see him in the room wrestling some freestyle and Greco. And then we'll just make sure we don't want to lose weight. We just want to be more aware of this weight. And that's Spencer Hall. Okay, this next wrestler, actually named the move after him. Probably call it that for a while. And last year he used to do it a lot. Now this year he learned to add other stuff to his arsenal. And we have this arm spin. I was called it Sam spin. He did it so much. And he was just a joy to watch, joy to be around. One of our leaders on our team, and that's Sam. This next wrestler, very competitive, very competitive. Just got to find the right ways to channel all that competitiveness. And I was a lot like this individual, so I know exactly where he's coming from. Wants to win really bad. He's got a huge heart. He's really aggressive. You just got to find the right way to be aggressive. And he's shooting. Loves to shoot. Loves to shoot all the time, but loves to shoot his head down. Which is not a good combination. And just another good kid to be around. And looking forward to a lot of good things next year. And Gavin Lee. This next wrestler, we have a nickname for him. practice, and he won't stop. His partners will go get water, he'll take a break, and jump to the next time. He never gets water, never takes a break. Just works extremely hard. He had a big injury last year, so kind of set him back. That's to be expected when you have a major injury like this. He just kept working, and everything's going to come around. And he did well this year, and I know he's going to do all the work in the offseason. He's one of the ones sometimes you just have to say, hey, take it a little bit. Of course, we'll do that in the season. When the season's off, take a little too, break. But I know he just wants to keep working, and that's a machine. That's Julie Machine. Next individual, he made great strides last year. Complete 180. Put a lot of work into it. Put a lot of work in. Been really dedicated, and another fierce competitor. I love watching him wrestle. The man, he's got a great attitude. It seems like as the matches get closer, he just gets more and more confident. He walks around like 8 feet tall out there. Sometimes. We're just thinking of some stuff this off season. He's going to be looking for a big year next year. Hopefully next year we'd like to see him at the state meet, and that would be Dom or Bob. Individual. He wrestled a few years back, took some time off, to explore some football for a while, other things, and came back this year and worked really hard. Was never able to get on the mat, was at practice, working as hard as could be to try to get there. I take my hat off to him because I know it's a lot of work. He just kept working hard, and I know he's going to be a good individual, and I enjoyed my time around him a little bit, and hopefully he'll come back and work out with the big guys. And that's Jamie over there. These next individuals will be getting their varsity block for the first time. So this wrestler here, another great kid, and this guy makes me laugh all the time. And he ended up getting hurt down in Watsonville. Ended up breaking his collarbone. The whole team, enjoys him, enjoys having him around. Enjoy teasing him, but I'm sure everyone's going to miss him something. And I'd like to see him in the wrestling room, more. And look forward to next year. And that's Perry Reeves. This next wrestler, Mr. Cool, always got sunglasses on. What's your sport? He wears sunglasses all the time. I think we brought him in today. I saw him again. And last year, we tried to have him lose a little bit of weight. No, he didn't want to lose weight. He wanted to get big. He wanted to get big. And now this year, we want him to get big. And now he wants to lose some weight. So, and then I was like, okay, well, that'd be a good idea. Lose a little bit of weight. We want him to get down to 220. He gets down to 220, and he keeps going. 218, 217, 216. Wait, what are you doing now? Why are you getting so small? And I gave up 5 pounds and kept getting smaller and smaller. And, you know, he was like Mr. Cool out there. He was like, oh, I got this, coach. You know, I tried to talk to him before. Oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'll do this, I'll do that. I'm just going to go out and throw him. And, you know, just cool individual, cool wrestler. And that's Matt Hughes. Okay, this next wrestler, he didn't wrestle for a few years. Just amazing watching this kid wrestle. Just always seems to pull a rabbit out of the hat. And I was watching him wrestle last weekend, and one of the matches, a kid tried to throw him, and probably 99 out of 100 kids would have gotten thrown and landed on their back. And it was like a perfect throw. This guy stops in midair, lands on his head first, and in midair is able to torque his body, twist his body around, not to go to his back, and to land back on his stomach, get up, and get behind the guy. You know, it's one of those ones just kind of roll your eyes and go, wow, that's pretty impressive. And, you know, for a freshman, did an outstanding job. And, you know, the sky's the limit, and that's Isaiah. Okay, this next wrestler, first year with us, I've had other coaches ask me, where does this kid come from? You know, a couple other coaches were going, man, can you wrestle? Because he didn't wrestle that much this season. Right? He had a lot of injuries. And we get towards the end of the season, you know, other coaches look at him, where does this guy come from? This guy's been in the gym, working out all the time, or what? You know, and I think he had 3 matches, you know, going into league finals. I think 2 of them were JV, I think so basically one varsity match. Ends up being WCAL league champ. Wrestled great at CCS. And, you know, next year it's going to be, you know, outstanding to watch this guy wrestle. I think he ended up losing like 20-something pounds, 22, 24 pounds or something. It was crazy, but, you know, works extremely hard, and that's Julian Perez. Next wrestler was, he's got a great name, his initials. That sounds great. If you guys went to CCS, you heard the fans out there chant his initials, and it works pretty good. I was just trying to say my initials, like, those don't sound great. You know, and, you know, so it works out perfect. Watching this guy wrestle, another wrestler that I love watching this guy wrestle. He just, you know, you have some guys that are like, you know, sports cars wrestle. This guy is like Mack truck. Win, lose. The other guy's going to get beat up. He's going to feel it. Watching his matches, watching the opponents. These kids come off of there, and they look like they've just been in a car accident the rest of the and he does too. And that's just his style. That's all he does. He's going to headbutt you, elbow you, just do whatever. And he knows one way to go. He can be winning the match, and you think, okay, let's just circle and be smart. He's still going to just be aggressive. He was good. Yeah. Yep, it's TSN. This next wrestler, you guys your block. Make sure you come and see me. So this next wrestler here is, he wanted to go heavyweights for us. We didn't have a heavyweight at the time, and he was giving up 60 pounds, 70 pounds. I think one match, you know, he actually wanted to go wrestle like kid from Sarah. The kid from Sarah weighed 287 pounds. 70 pounds heavier. He wanted to wrestle. I said, you know, not a good idea, but I still showed that hard work. He wanted to go out there and compete and do that. And come league finals, he says, you know, Coach, I want to win. Sure? Yeah. 20 JV, it's all right. That's what you weigh. And 217 pounds. These guys are going to get 60, 70 pounds more. No, he said he wanted to do it. You know, which, you know, I take my hat off to him. You know, a lot of kids would take it easy. We had guys are a lot smaller by size. But no, I mean, you go out there and other coaches would be like, that's your heavyweight? What was that good weight? I mean, it's, you know, big difference in the size. And you just kept fighting. That's a extreme hard. Actually would have beaten that kid, right? But you know, the size, you sometimes just can't overcome that. You know, just they call time out to catch the graphic stuff. Small shooter, run all around. These guys hired and just showed a lot of heart, a lot of fight, and that's Alex Renata. Next wrestling freshman, and started out the year, lost to the St. Francis kid a couple times, and St. Francis kid didn't come in, take the first in our league, and this guy just kept getting better and better the entire season, and he just filled wrestling hard for 6 minutes. He'll let kids get a big lead in the first round, and he'll just keep coming battling back and battling back. You know, win a lot of the matches in the third round, which, you know, goes to his conditioning and just never stay quit attitude. CCS to come back the next day, he has to wrestle that same kid. St. Francis kid, he's already lost to him. You know, the first time he lost to him, it was pretty bad. It wasn't that close. 8 or 10 points. The second time he got a little closer. And then now we got to wrestle again, go back to the second day of CCS. And I'm sure they were really confident that they could beat this kid twice. It was pretty easy. And, you know, but not this time. I just kept working. You know, I think we ended up winning, you know, probably by 5 or 6 points. You know, it was probably a 10-point swing since the last match. And he just, you know, making great strides. You know, hardly waiting for baseball season to end, you know, so we can get back to the rest of them. But, you know, I know he needed a little bit of time off and waiting for a long season. I think he actually started probably like September, never missed a day, you know, since then. And that's Mason Brown. Next wrestler has been moved around in the lineup. You know, he'll do anything. He needs you to go this weight class, he needs you to go this weight class, lose weight, gain weight. And extremely strong. He's an individual. You know, I hear from other wrestlers, that guy's pretty strong over there. You know, and just you just got to get some more of his brother's food. So, you know. Most guys would say, work out. This one we're already told him we want you to gain, you know, 15, 20 pounds this year. You know, so hopefully, you know, he can do that. And you know, we took him to the state meeting with us, which was huge. You know, he got to see that experience and just, you know, see where that other level's at, what he needs to do to get there. You know, I know he will. You know, he's been in the wrestling room this week already, put work in. And that's Jack here. Next wrestler, probably one of the politest wrestlers ever met. Still, to this day, still practice. After practice, he'll come shake my hand. Hey, thanks. I'm thinking, thanks for what? What I do? No, thanks for coaching me. For practice. That's what we do every day. But great individual and matches. I'll talk to him after matches, and he's over there nodding his head. Yes sir, yes sir. Yes sir. I don't beat out for him, but he's always saying yes sir. He's a really fine individual, and he's got a great head and arm. He's been there for a while. I know he put in work in the off season, and I know he put in work in this off season, and that's Michael Bell. This next wrestler is I've been wrestling for 2 years, and did another sport before that, and I've never seen him play that other sport, but I can't even imagine that he played that sport. I don't know what happened. They give out 6 fouls. Maybe this kid must have got 6 fouls in the first minute. I mean, basically he's a bull in a china shop, and he has a great time doing it. He's smiling, laughing during the match. And I know these other wrestlers have to get upset. These guys, they're just flying the bleachers, they're all over the place, and they fall out, and he'll put out his hand and pick them up, and all these other coaches are looking at him like, what are you teaching these guys over here? It's just amazing to watch him wrestle. Just, basically, it's a bull in a china shop, and just, he'll go to his back and flip him over. It's like you're watching big time wrestling on TV almost. And that's Hunter Bingham. And some of you guys, like I said, I forgot to give you a block, but I have it right now. I just gave you the certificate. So that was my fault for doing that. I have them all right here. So come to see me in a few minutes. And this is next. We're going to do Coach Ricky's and give out some of the other awards we got.
Okay, guys, I'm going to hand out the awards. All the coaches got together. It was, we had a lot of names on the wall trying to figure out who we gave these awards to. Same as last year, all these kids did great. It's hard to figure out who was most improved. We have a bunch of guys going from JV to Varsity and placing in the league, regional league, accomplishing a lot of good things this year. So the first award I'm going to give out is a coach's award. All year, people kept asking, who's our 126 pounder? So we're like, oh, where did he come from? So everyone thought he came out of nowhere. And he had a great season, first tournament. I think he won the first tournament, correct? And he had a great year. I'm not sure how many wins he had, but he had a lot of wins this year. And I remember at one point, we were asking him at Joel meets, we need you to pin. And his parents were like, he barely started winning. That guy's going to pin people? Like, well, if you start winning, we're going to ask more from you every year. If you're not winning yet, we're going to have to get closer. It's going to get more competitive. And once you start winning, we're going to want you to get majors and techs and pins. And so we asked a lot from him, and it really showed in the wrestling community. Everyone took notice, so he's not going to be under anyone's radar next year. So he needs to keep improving, and we can get him to see. So, Mercado, Tom. Okay, the other award we have here is most improved. names on the list, so we really thought about it. And so many people can get this award right now, but one that really stood out for a lot of us was Hunter Bingham. He had a lot of fun this season. It was a lot of fun for us to watch, and he really inspired the whole team, the coaches, and everyone. We really had a great year. Really proud of him. Okay, the next one's also it's a coaching award. All year, these two kids were battling back and forth, cheering for each other. But from the first tournament, winning the first tournament, being a giant killer, taking out all these seniors that were like returning placers, and CCS, everyone's chanting his name, initials. Had a great year, and he was in the running for the MVP as well. So all year, it was like, who's our MVP? Like mid-season, DSM, ICE, and every week it would change. Every week it would change, and had a great year. And I think if barring any injuries, I think he would have been right there at the state this year as well. And really proud of him. DSM. Next award is most valuable wrestler, and this might be a little bit of favoritism, but I had to give it to Ice. Last award, Billy Schmidt Award. This one's a character, sportsmanship, and it's not going to the gap. And this wrestler showed a lot of character, a lot of heart, and I practice every day. When the kid was struggling, you go over there and help him out with the technique. And at times we had to tell him, you need to work out too. Go grab somebody that's going to push you, and you need to be a little bit more selfish. He was really unselfish all the time for the last 2 years that I coached him. Helped out everybody, helped out the entire team. Maybe not his brother, but everybody else. He was a great team leader, led by example, and was always in the fight. And big congratulations, you got accepted to the Air Force. Congratulations. Thank you for. Now we're going to seniors.
Hey guys, for those who don't know me, my name is Sam. Hey guys. Unfortunately, the coach that I'm making my speech on is not here tonight. But also, let me start off this speech talking to those who have heard me make speeches before tournaments and such. Hopefully that's from I prepared. Chuck Knoll. a football player and once head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, said that a life of frustration is inevitable for any coach whose main enjoyment is winning. If you spot Senior at any of these tournaments, the big grin on his face will show you that the sport of wrestling, not just winning, is his passion. However, if you are within a 3-mile radius of the gym during a tournament, his voice will tell you that he still likes winning, at least a little bit. Now, as many of you guys know, only 2 years ago, we had a pretty drastic coaching change. Due to some unfortunate circumstances, we lost 5 amazing coaches whose great love of the sport and team is now spread across other schools. I had wrestled my first 2 years under the staff and had grown to love them and their style of wrestling. So as the program quickly crumbled, I was knocked off my feet pretty hard. I was now presented with a group of unfamiliar coaches and a completely different style. Now this style doesn't just refer to the Palomino style of wrestling, but also their coaching style. The old coaches were, I guess you would say, old school. They were all about being the fastest and the strongest, and technique was just supposed to come later. I literally only wrestled with just a hard shove and kind of a mediocre shot. And if I ever made a mistake, they immediately let you know it. So it was a huge shock when the Palominos came in and were the complete opposite. I came home from practice one day, early junior year. My dad asked me how I liked the new coaches. I responded with a little offhand, "They're different." He asked, "How are they different?" To which I replied, "They're supportive." Well, supportive, a word that would never describe Senior, is soft. Junior year, I always looked forward to Wednesdays. This is the day that Senior came to practice, because it felt a little like the old days. We practiced all sorts of different moves for 3 hours. Remember how I talked about that 3-mile radius? Imagine that condensed into the small little wrestling room we have back there. Many kids feared this day as the hardest days, but I always looked forward to them because it kind of helped ease me into the new system. Now, I don't have a ton of stories about Senior, but I do have one that I'll remember forever. Obviously, my last match of CCS in my career was very emotional. I fought a kid that I had gone against for 4 years from St. Francis, with each of these matches ending in very close scores. I lost by 2 and was emotionally wrecked. I felt that I had tried my best, but still thought maybe it wasn't enough. As I quickly walked out of the gym to kind of regroup outside, many of the coaches giving me a pat on the back, Senior appeared with a huge smile on his face. He shook my hand, and I know that I had done well. It is this love for his wrestlers that really makes Senior one of the best coaches I've ever met and had the honor of wrestling under. Thank you.
Luckily, my coach that I'm going to talk about is here today. I've been given the great pleasure to recount my wonderful times with Coach Saldana. I've been one of the only 2 people that have been wrestling here for all 4 years of high school. During all 4 of those years, Coach Saldana has been my coach. I remember back when I first started out as a freshman, and I walked into the wrestling room with no idea what to expect. I might not have known what to expect, I knew what I saw, and that was a lot of our coaches yelling at a lot of our freshmen as they ran warm-ups around the room. And I was pretty intimidated. I just went in head first, and as any first-time wrestler will tell you, the first day sucks. And luckily, the coaches collectively only made it harder from there on out. But now that I think about it, I realize that was a good thing. It felt good to come out of practice with a bit more knowledge and a lot more soreness. And that may have been because of Coach Saldana's way of coaching. He's the kind of coach who isn't afraid to just rip you off your practice partner, tell you, make a joke of how terribly you're doing the move, and then proceed to beat the right way to do the move into you himself. I felt that it's because of this style that I learned as much as I did, and it's also why I wasn't really sure if Coach Saldana liked me. But every time it was time to learn a new move, I always found myself being the bottom man, learning the move firsthand, and I wasn't quite sure why it was always me being picked on to do these. But I later found out that that was Coach Saldana's special way of letting me know that he cares. And he would later let me know he cares during practice a lot. He would come into my practice during live and just cut into the next person going and just let me know how much he cares. It was the kind of wrestling that got me through my freshman and sophomore year, and I steadily improved. But as Sam said earlier, during junior year, all of our coach changes happened, and I was pretty worried about what would happen. It would be all new coaches. But luckily, Coach Saldana came back to be able to watch me grow from my junior to senior year, and more importantly, all the way from freshman to senior. It helped knowing that I still had a coach that knew me from my previous 2 years and knew all my habits that I wrestled, and he'd be able to coach me in my corner, knowing just my style of wrestling. It was also great because I still had a coach that could yell at me and scream at me in my ear while I wrestled, even if he was in my corner or on the stands. I could hear him from no matter where I was in the gym, and I didn't even have to be wrestling. As some of you may know, Coach Saldana has a God-given talent that was made just for coaching. And that is that his voice, you can hear it from anywhere. If you've ever been to a tournament with him, you can hear him all over, even fireworks. Snap the head, or inside control, or just two of the numerous words he manages to get into your head right in the heat of a match. Coach Saldana has been one of the best coaches I could ever ask for. And if I could, I would do it all again. I thank him so much for all he has done for me and the team. I hope he continues to be a great coach for all the next couple of months.
Hello, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm James Salazar. So for my speech, I decided to choose Coach Vince because throughout the season he meant a lot to me. For some athletes, we create a bond with our coaches. It's a bond in which helps us to push ourselves to achieve our goals. For me, that's what Vince did. I came in late to wrestling, having just finished football and getting back on the mat. I never really met any coaches before since I had wrestled my junior year. My first week back, Vince was helping me out, catching me up to speed, giving me my team here. So most of my season was spent trying to drop the weight in order to qualify for my weight class. It was a struggle for me in the motivation aspect. So each and every time after practice, Vince would be there motivating me to do my best and to push myself. I would leave practice not wanting to disappoint him, go push myself because I was running or whatever. Unfortunately, I was not able to reach my goal this season, but then Coach Vince would be there to tell me that, even though you didn't make it, man, did you try? He'd be the kind of guy that would go up to you and say, hey, you did your best, and that's all I can ask you. I was happy to know that I could trust Vince to be there for this team and for each and every individual. And, now I couldn't have asked for a better coach. We wouldn't, there'd be times we would just kind of talk during dual meets or during tournaments or whatever, and, we wouldn't only talk about what I can or need to do, but what else my teammates can do. Me and Vince would sometimes talk about other wrestlers during the dual meets or tournaments and mention how they could do better and so on. From the leg slams to the belly headlocks, we talked about it all. I enjoyed this conversation with Coach because he had great advice and great opinions. One thing that I enjoyed about Vince was that he was the man with the plan, the man amongst men. Coach Vince would always be on top of getting us a pretty sweet gear. Our sweatshirts and shorts are awesome. The warm-up gear was cool too, but I didn't see how it matched our purple singlets. guess Coach Sal was a fashion statement. But I felt that Vince kept everything in order as far as keeping hold of the structure of the team. There are not many people like Vince around that I couldn't appreciate more the help he has given me, the team, the other coaches, and all of our supporters. So thank you, Coach, for all you have done, and thanks again for keeping my head held high. Ladies and gentlemen, the man himself, Coach Vince.
Hey everyone, I'm Hunter Bacon. And if you ask me what sport we play my senior year in high school as a freshman, I would have said I've been starting on the basketball team in 6'3", 6'4", yeah. However, I clearly didn't work out as a plan. I became a wrestler, and I'm really happy that I didn't meet my goal of becoming a basketball player, because I simply just love the wrestling game. All the parents are great people, I love my fellow wrestlers, and the coaches are awesome. I don't think I can say the same about the wrestling team. Anyway, the wrestling team is like a big family, except this family doesn't really yell at me as much. My lack of wrestling experience has caused me to be a rather unique wrestler. While wrestling, I'm not the most skilled, I'm not the fastest or biggest guy out there, and I don't have the best decision making either. However, I do think I'm one of the most intense wrestlers out there, at least in the first period. I know this is one thing that Coach Senior loves about me. Intensity is also one of the many attributes I love about Coach Senior. He's one of the most intense coaches I've ever had. And when he's yelling at us in the wrestling room during a match, it makes the rest of the team and I want to work harder than we possibly can. He's always pushing us to improve ourselves and our wrestling skills. And the way he pushes us makes us want to improve. Not only this, but he has told us that the way he wrestled one back in the day was intensity. He would outwork his opponents, and he just never gave up during a wrestling match. This made me look up to him, because I know when I wrestle, the only way I can win is by either wrestling with a really weak dude or just outworking the person that wrestles. However, despite this extremely intense level of coaching he brings, he's a pretty kind and loving guy. Whether he's bouncing me on my butt after a low blow in a wrestling match, which actually helps, or comforting me after a loss and ensuring me to wrestle well, he's there for me. I know he's there for me, for this team, any wrestling on, because it's just who he is. Intensity and greatness are just two things I love about Coach Senior. I also like how he knows all the wrestlers pretty well. He sometimes jokes around and laughs at us, which is a nice quality for a coach or anyone to have. He makes wrestling fun and enjoyable, which was a key factor in making me enjoy the sport. I'm really glad that I've been able to know and be coached by such a charismatic and kind person. And I'm pretty jealous of all the people that get to be coached by him during the upcoming years. Anyway, I'm not only going to miss wrestling, the family that came with me next year in college, but I'll still be able to visit everybody. So, thank you.
Having the right coach can make a world of difference for anyone. Speaking as someone, oh, there we go. Thank you, Alex. Speaking as someone who's been under 3 different coaching staffs, I can say that personally, that this staff is something special. There was something that Coach Palomino that made a world of difference for me. I met him back after sophomore year, and Julian had told me that to come with him to his wrestling club, because I didn't have a club right then. So I was like, oh, okay, I need someone to wrestle in the offseason. And since I always thought that Julian wrestled well, I thought, why not? As I quickly learned, it was a great place to work out and wrestle. The environment that Coach brought to the room was hardworking but not over the top. Something that, until that point, I was all too familiar with. Fast forward a year, and he is the new head coach at Varsity. Well, I knew that Julian and myself were very, very pleased with that development, because we knew what kind of room he would bring to this school, and how everyone would benefit because of it. Some of the things that he brought that I just could not get, I couldn't get enough of were his style of coaching and the way he made sure you knew your match and you would do what you had to do. Previous coaches I've had have been like, oh, when you get the choice in second period, if you look to me, I'm going to tell you what to choose. Coach isn't like that. He says, look to me, and I'll tell you what I think is the better choice for you, but it's your match. You have to wrestle it, and if you decide something else is better, then you choose something else. And I always like that because I feel that, and I agree with him, yeah, if I was out there in a match, I wanted to do what I thought was right. But I usually went with him anyway, because he knows what he was doing down to a T. Anyone can look at a move online and try to know all the things about it. But it takes a real coach to know the intricacies of a move so well that under the tutelage, you can do it in your sleep. I think the old saying is you have to do a move like 10,000 times in order for you to actually know it. I think I can honestly say I've done most of the moves that he's taught me over 10,000 times. I mean, there is like the high C or the pass the elbow. Thank you, Kevin. The high C or pass the elbow. We've all, I think all of us in here have done them so many times, yes, we could actually do them in our sleep. And the nice thing about that is, once you know it that well, you know it well when you're able to teach someone else, which is what I've also been able to do. And that's how knowledgeable he is. He's able to pass the knowledge on through the different groups and generations. I know I'm done with high school wrestling now, but I've enjoyed these years, few as they've been. I haven't been lucky enough to have the full 4 years. But I've enjoyed these years under Coach Palomino immensely, and I always look back on them fondly. Thank you for the years I've been given.
Okay, so my name is Josh Jeremiah, and I'm a senior here at Bellarmine. I know Julian thought I was a freshman up until today, but for some of you who may not recognize me, that's because it's my first time wrestling, and it's my first time wrestling at Bell. And so before I talk about Coach Saldana, because I'm talking about Coach Saldana, I'd like to tell you about how I got into wrestling at Bellarmine. So, when I first got into Bellarmine, I had the idea of wrestling in the back of my mind, but it was just kind of like an idea, and I didn't really pursue it that much. I'd been at open mats a few times at my friend's high school, and wrestled a few recreational matches. However, I got so caught up in trying other things that by the time winter came around, I told myself that I was going to take a break and sit out for the season. Because, after all, like Mr. Saldana mentioned, I do swimming, and that happens in the spring, so I didn't want to overdo it. On top of that, there was always that fear that most freshmen have of being judged, of not being good enough, or trying out for a sport that you've never done before. And I'm sure all the seniors can say this, that before they knew it, it was senior year, and there was a ton of things that they could say that they were going to regret. So I told myself that I was just going to go out for it and give it a shot, because if I didn't, then I was really going to regret it. And it really made it a lot easier that everyone was super welcoming and really welcomed me with open arms and taught me so many new things that I could learn. And so here I am. So how did I meet Mr. Saldana? To be honest, I went through the entire first couple weeks of practice not even knowing any of the coaches' names. And since Mr. Saldana has to commute from Mission San Jose, he was the last coach I actually learned about. I was surprised. I was actually kind of surprised because, like Matt said, he's the loudest coach at practice, so how could you not know about him? Not only that, though, my friends from Mission San Jose would always tell me whether I knew Mr. Saldana. And for those first couple of weeks that I didn't know any of the coaches, I had to either say no or avoid the question, because I didn't know who any of the coaches were. And I didn't want to tell them that I didn't know him. But then there came that one practice when I first met him. It was the end of practice, right after the break, and I heard a boy say, "Where's Josh?" And the last time I heard a tone was sophomore year when I had forgotten my materials on the pool deck, and Coach Larry said that to me. That was not a fun experience. But so, yeah, I was scared, and I froze up, I didn't know what to do, and I typically stepped forward, and I could hear him say, I heard him ask me whether I had friends at Mission San Jose, and I said yes, because his TA apparently had told him about me, and that's how I met Coach Saldana. Thank God I didn't take her advice and try to find out who he was by walking in and yelling, "Hey Freddie," one day. But that was a much better way to meet him than walking in and saying, "Hey Freddie." But at practice, being a freshman and JV coach, Mr. Saldani would always work with me and the other freshmen and JV guys, teaching us the basics from wizards to stand-ups and bridges, which all seemed so difficult and foreign to us. I could always count on him to brush up my technique when it came to anything. And like Matt mentioned, he wouldn't hesitate to rip me away from my wrestling partner and show me how it was done the right way. And I'm not nearly as big of a guy as Matt, so when it came to moves like this checking, I felt like my ribs were going to break so many times. Then came the first meet against Valley Christian. And all I brought on that meet was 3 things. I brought my singlet, my headgear, and a towel. Don't get me wrong, I quickly learned that the towel wasn't widely accepted in the wrestling community. But I still hold firm to my belief that it is one of the most brilliant inventions that has so many uses. The second I stepped on the mat, I was shaking like crazy and was really nervous because of my first round and my first match and my first meet. All I can remember during that first round was I was just like, it just went by so fast. But so that round went by so fast, and before I knew it, it was the second round, and all I could remember from the first round was a whole bunch of hand fighting, but I obviously remembered it wrong because when I looked at the scoreboard, I was losing. If I remember correctly, I started on top, and I absolutely dreaded it because I probably knew a total of about half a move on top. And at least I knew how to try to escape on bottom. But by even more points because, and I was losing by even more points because I was already losing going into the round. I was getting ready to mentally give up, but I could